Live discussion class. In fact, we have been running this test series since last 20 years. I started this test series long back in 1999, and since then on, almost every successful candidate in civil services examination has taken my test series, and I have evaluated answer sheets of almost everyone. This year, we started the series from 18th of October. So today is the 5th test, and this is going to be the discussion of the 4th test. I have evaluated answer sheets of each and every person by my signature, and I am here to discuss with every question where I would have given marks or I would have not have given marks. Once again, before starting the discussion, let me start with my basic assumption that the normalization factor which I am using is 65%. Normalization factor is also called rationalization factor, can also be called scaling. That varies from year to year depending upon the toughness of the paper and the relative performance of the candidates. If I am using the normalization factor of 65%, that means for an outstanding answer, the answer which I cannot write, I will give 65% marks. If I think I can write that answer, then that marks is only less than 65%. That is the simplest meaning of normalization factor or scaling in this exam. So try to understand when my students say and when I say the answer which UPSC is expecting for 300 plus marks, that is 60% plus marks, that means going beyond the books. That is the test of your comprehension. UPSC is testing your comprehension, your words, not my words, not some bookish words. If you are writing bookish answers, you are writing any teacher's answers, they are within 60% marks. That's it. That is the assumption. With that, I have evaluated the answer sheets of each and every person in test 4, and by test 4, I have completed that paper 2. Paper 2 is very crucial in civil services examination as paper 2 provides a level playing field. Basically, the syllabus of paper 2 is higher than BSc Honours and little less than master's level. So, depth in the paper 2 is that of master's level. Most of the aspirants who have not done master's degree in physics, they lack the required depth in this paper. That is why most of the time paper 2 turns out to be quite difficult, and I always prefer to start my classes or my test series from paper 2 so that you can have a sufficient confidence. About 35 people have taken the test 4. First test I had evaluated the answer sheets of 70 people. About 70 persons are enrolled in my test series. I have evaluated answer sheets of each and every person of test 1. After that, number gradually starts falling. Test 2 has been taken by about 52 people. I have evaluated answer sheets of 52. Test 3 has been taken by about 45 people, and test 4 has been taken about by 35 people, and I have got the entire data. So first test there were 70 people. Now coming up to the 4th test, there are only 35 people. Highest in this paper has been 149. So try to understand, I am quite open in giving the marks. If I have not given you the marks, that means your answers are lacking something. And up to 125 marks means up to 50% out of 250 is simply the game of contents. If you are getting less than 125 marks in my test series by my evaluation, that means you lack the desired energy. You have not done the desired hard work in this exam. Above 125 may depend upon your writing style, may depend upon your comprehension, may depend upon many factors. But below 125 is simply you have not done the work, hard work, whatever this examination is looking out. Definitely civil services examination, one of the criteria is hard work also. You must be in a position to work for 10 hours a day. If you can do 10 hours a day during your academic disciplines, academic programs, this competition, definitely when the service you are allotted, As a result of this examination, you will be able to put extra efforts for making that service also successful. That is what UPSC expects. So hard work is one way, comprehension is another way. So without getting into much into the details, let me straight away come to the paper 4. It was very simple paper according to me. Average marking has been about 110 plus in this paper. 110 plus is the average marks of this paper, because typically out of this electronics portion I do not teach. So I feel very constant in making the good questions from that part. So typically whatever the questions are, this is my constant in this particular paper, because electronics, analog electronics portion I do not teach. Because I do not teach that portion, I ask only very simple straight away kind of questions which has been asked in the exam. So paper is relatively much simpler as compared to any other paper. So that is why average marking in this paper has been pretty good. I will distribute the answer sheets of each and every person. नाम बता दीजिए. अभिमन्यु अरोड़ा, साथ वाले दूसरे के भी ले जाना, उनका भी क्या नाम है, शांतनु अरोड़ा. आपका क्या नाम है जी? First of all, everybody who is sitting in the class, they should take the answer sheets. दे दीजिए उनको. वहीं बैठे रहिए, वहीं बैठे रहिए. I have evaluated answer sheets of each and every person who has taken the test up to test 4. Paper 2 is complete. This discussion will not take much time, because not more than 1 hour I intend to complete. I intend to take for this discussion, because many of the questions are straight theoretical and derivations which you can go through from the book. Let me start with question number 1A. 1A. Copper has a lattice parameter of 3.61 angstrom. Lattice parameter means A is given to you. A, that is lattice parameter. The first order Bragg reflection from 111 plane appears at 21.7 degrees Celsius, 21.7 degrees. Theta is given to you. Determine the wavelength of X-ray used. It is very straightforward kind of question. First you will calculate the interplanar spacing between the Bragg planes, which D will turn out to be, 111 plane is given. D is A upon root H square plus K square plus L square, straight away formula. D is A by root 3. So you get D, and from D you will get lambda by using the Bragg's diffraction formula. Generalized Bragg's diffraction formula is, make the diagram here, 2D sin theta is equal to L lambda for first maxima, 1 lambda. Substitute and calculate. Lambda is 1.54 angstrom. I think it is correct of each and every person. Question 1A. First is D is A upon root H square plus K square plus L square, which will turn out to be 2.084 angstroms. Now you will use 2D sin theta is lambda or N lambda. Generalize N lambda, N is 1. So here you will get lambda is 1.54 angstroms. Answer is correct. I have given you up to 6 out of 10. If it is wrong, this is 1 mark, this is 1 mark. That's it. Simplest thing. If your answer is correct, 1.54 angstroms, I have gone for the back calculation. Back calculation means D is this. If you have not even calculated D, I will not give you even 1 mark. And then 2D sin theta is equal to 1 lambda, N lambda, generalized formula, N is equal to 1. Writing this formula, I have given you 1 mark. So if you have written only one formula, this calculation is not correct, answer is wrong, I have given you only 1 mark. If everything is correct, I have given you 6 marks. If you have made Nice diagram, this kind of things. This is minimum which I expected. This is the interplanar spacing. This is the minimum which I have expected. This is for 6 marks. 6 and half marks in this question I have given rarely, depending upon how your other answers have been there. Simply because this question is so simple that it is correct of almost each and every person. Rarely I would have given 6 and half marks to anybody. 6 and half marks, only thing when depending upon your all other things. B part, distinguish between soft and hard semiconductor. B part, soft semiconductor, definitely whenever I ask difference, it is always best to write into the tabular form. Until and unless you do not know the things. If you do not know the things, definitely you cannot write on the point-wise format. But I expect to be written soft semiconductor, hard semiconductors. And what do you expect? This is a totally 10 mark question. For 5 marks I have asked distinguish between them. Distinguish means differences you have to write. And for 5 marks I have explained how penetration depth varies with magnetic field. This is for 5 marks. Try to understand. And in 5 marks, how much maximum I can get? 3 or 3.5. Correct? 3. Typically. 3 means I expect how many points here? 3 well-defined points I expect for 3 marks. If you have made 1 point, I will give you 1 mark. And if this is everything is whole, answer is nice within 1 page, I would have given you 3.5 marks. Try to understand that point. Typically 3 marks. Half mark is overall impression of the question. For whole 10 marker, I can add on half mark to the answer. Otherwise, I am quantifying what I will give for 6 marks. Try to understand. Only I am explaining in the class answer which is 60% marks answer. 65% marks answer, 0.5 marks extra, which will depend upon your overall impression on me of the entire answer sheet. Good, try to understand that point. Don't fight on half marks. Half mark is only important when you are scoring 125 plus marks. If you are a candidate scoring about 150 marks, then definitely half marks and 1.5 marks matters. But if you are below 125, below 50%, that means you are lacking something from your own side. Built up the contents. Your content part itself is lacking. Good. So these differences I expected 3 good points. Now I will tell you what are the 3 good points which I expected, but 3 good points I was expecting. One simplest, and physics means quantification. Try to understand, physics always believes in quantification. So definitely first I would have expected what is the basic difference between soft superconductor and hard superconductor. What are they? They perfectly obey Messier effect. They do not obey the Messier effect. There is some intermingling of the flux inside. There is no intermingling of the flux inside. This is only one point. Try to appreciate whether I call they obey Messier effect, do not obey Messier effect, or I elaborate that thing within that. That is only one point. Second point here is, that is here, first point I would have called Messier effect. Do not follow Messier effect. Do not follow Messier effect. There is mixing. Here second I would have called lambda by epsilon. What are lambda by epsilon? Lambda is penetration depth, epsilon is coherent length. If lambda penetration depth is less than coherent length, this is type 1. Lambda is more than coherent length, this is type 2. Then you could have given some examples of them, or the magnetic field value. Here they obey. Magnetic field values are, critical magnetic field values are small. Here magnetic field values are large. SC is small, SC is large. You write in proper words. Correct? 3 distinguishing factor. If you have added some other point also, I would have given happy. But definitely these are 3 quantifiable criteria. Then for 5 marks, I have given 2 things. How does the penetration depth varies with magnetic field? How penetration depth varies with magnetic field? Yes. This typically H or HC, whatever you want to call, H is H0 e raised to power minus x by lambda, or B is B0 e raised to power minus x by lambda. That is what is the solution of Mester equation. That is how it varies B versus lambda, B versus penetration depth. One kind of this thing I have asked. If the diagram is correct, I have given you 1.5 marks, and 2 lines straight. I have asked only diagram. This comes from your solution of London equation. Inside the superconductor, magnetic field varies as exponential of this. You can write in the words, or that's it. I do not expect derivation, nothing of this kind here. Second thing here I have expect, this is 1.5 marks. If diagram is correct, I have given you 1.5 marks. If diagram is not correct, I have not given 1.5 marks for you. Nothing beating about the bush. Second part here is, I have asked how does penetration depth depend upon temperature. So this is something of this kind of graph. This is TC. This is penetration depth. Correct. If this graph is correct, I have given you 1.5 marks. Good. That is how 6 marks. Overall impression within one page you have done it. I would have given you 6.5 marks. That is overall impression. Correct? Very straightforward question. B part. C part. C part. Now 1C. They are all 10 markers. And 10 markers means ideal answers of 10 markers has to be presented within one page. Try to understand whatever I am writing for 10 marker, and every 10 marker must be started from a new page. Best way of presenting is, already these days UPSC is giving you printed answer sheet. In that answer sheet, every 10 marker will start from separate page. In my answer sheets also you should start 10 marker from separate answer sheets, so separate page, so that I or examiner can easily evaluate your answers. So that is B. C part, derive Bragg's diffraction law for X-ray diffraction. Straightforward 5 marks, maximum 5 marks. You could have done by either the evolved construction. Evolved construction means 2k dot g plus g square is 0. Or you could have straight away very simply written 2d sin theta. The diagram whatever I made, interplanar spacing between the reflected from the upper surface and the lower surface. Why the path difference between them? This will be, this angle is theta, this angle will also be theta, this angle will also be theta, this will be d sin theta, this is also d sin theta. What is the path difference between reflected from the upper surface and the lower surface of the crystal? That is your 2d sin theta. For maxima, it is n lambda, as usual, straight with this derivation. People have done it from the evolved construction also. I have given them the also marks. Depending upon 3 marks, I would have given maximum. If derivation is correct, I have given 3 marks. I hope everybody has made it correct. Nothing big deal. Nothing big deal. 5 marks. C part. In the same part, basically try to understand main questions in UPSC are never difficult. Main questions. But tails are to be judiciously catered. If you cater to the tails correctly, then only you happen to get marks. If you are not able to cater to the tails, you are not able to get the marks. Here I have asked very pinpointedly differentiate between Lau and Debye-Sherrer methods. You know there are 3 different methods of Bragg's formula, how the Bragg's formula is used experimentally. There are 3 different methods. Out of 3 different methods, I have asked you to compare between 2 methods, and comparison means not writing in lines, continuing lines. It is always writing whenever the I am asking you to distinguish. That means I expect this side, and 1, 2, 3 points. For 5 marks answer, I expect at least 3 points to give you 3 marks. If you are not giving 3 points in the answer, if you have given 1 point only, I will give you 1 mark, whatever you write. Whatever you write. So simply here, I have asked, what is Lau method? What is Lau's method? And what is Debye-Sherrer method, DS method, correct? In short, I have written 3 points I expected. So what is the basic difference? What is the basic difference? Here what is used? Crystal is used. What is used in Lau's method? Crystal, solid crystal is used. Here what is used? Powdered form is used. Powdered method is used. So when crystal is used, here what is the distinguishing characteristic here? Lambda is variable. I use the X-rays as variable frequencies. So d and theta, here lambda is fixed. Here lambda is fixed, correct? Lambda is not fixed. Lambda is varying. Here lambda is fixed, one particular source. And if lambda is fixed, main defining equation is 2d sin theta is n lambda. If lambda is fixed, here what will happen? D and theta can vary. Here lambda is varying, so d and theta different planes can be focused at one particular angles. So d and theta can be this thing. Third, you can make a diagram. Third difference, you can make a diagram or anything else you can write. So at least I was expecting 3 particular points into this. If you have not made these points, there are many other differences as well. Theta here can be up to 360 degrees because perfect rotation is allowed. So theta can be up to 360 degrees. So these 3 differences I expected in writing. Whenever I am asking anything for 5 marks, I minimum expect 3 points, and in the tabular form of representation, evaluation is easy. I have given up to 6.5 marks. In this question, I have given people 6.5 marks. C part. D part. I have given in D part the energy and wave vector of a conduction band electron in a semiconductor is given as E is alpha h square k square upon m naught, where alpha is constant, m naught is free electron mass. Calculate the effective mass. I am asking, calculate the effective mass. First of all, I expected what here is effective mass. You have to give me the definition of effective mass. Whenever any charge carrier travels in any applied potential field, then its mass undergo a change. Whatever that mass in applied field, that is called its effective mass. So give the proper definition of this, and then this theory how it is given straight away. M star is h cross square d2e upon dk2, where E is the energy, k is its wave vector. Straight away you have to write. So 1 mark I have given for definition of effective mass. 5 marks out of 5 I could have given you. Out of this effective mass I would have taken for 2 marks. 2 marks I have assigned for this. 8 marks I have assigned for the numerical problem. So here I would have given 1.5 marks if you have written that part. A numerical problem out of 8 marks, I would have given you 4.5 to 5 marks. So numerical is very straightforward. It is given to you. Get the second order derivative and get me the answer. Get me the answer. Answer here is m0 upon 8 pi square alpha. That is m star. That is m star. So if you have written me the definition, I have given you 1.5 marks. If you have given me this correct, I have given you 4.5 marks out of your 8. And remaining part, in maybe 1 mark for writing this thing. That's it. Formula I have given you only 1 mark. That was D part. And regarding E part, and definitely everything could have been answered within 1 page. Try to understand. Everything explicitly could have been answered within 1 page. E part, Wien bridge oscillator, calculate the frequency. In a Wien bridge oscillator, what is the frequency given? Straight away I am not asking derivation. Formula for Wien bridge oscillator is 1 by 2 pi root R1 C1 R2 C2 under balanced bridge condition. This is this. And when R1 is equal to R2, C1 is equal to C2, it becomes simply, under this case, because I have given you R1 is equal to R2, C1 is equal to C2, this will turn out to be 1 upon 2 pi RC. 2 marks I have given you for writing this formula. Calculation is very straightforward, very simple problem is there. Answer is your 3120.68 Hz, or I would have written 3.12 kilohertz. These answers. Problem would have been correct, I would have given you 5 marks. Answer would have been correct, I would have given you 5 marks. 1 mark I have reserved for making me the diagram of Wien bridge oscillator. If you would have made me the diagram, written the generalized formula, I would have added you half extra mark. Otherwise, I was expecting what is Wien bridge oscillator. If you could have made me a diagram, I would have given you 6 marks with the correct answer. If your answer is wrong, definitely writing down the formula and other things, I would have given you 2 marks. That's it. 1 mark for the diagram, 1 mark for writing down the formula if your answer is wrong. That is how I evaluated question number 1. Any question? If anybody is having any question, any other question? If I have discussed the entire question 1, which was 10 marks each, 5 parts. All other questions I am just going to discuss in due course of time. Question number 1 I have completed. If anybody has got any questions, please do ask. Then I am just straight away going to the question number 5. Then I will get back, because like question number 2, I can fast forward question number 2. Fast forward. Question 2 is totally theoretical question. 2a, discuss the motion of an electron in 1D periodic potential and so that it leads to formation of bands of allowed and forbidden states in electron energy spectrum. Has been asked at least 4 times in UPSC exam this question. How are the insulated semiconductors and conductors discriminated on the basis of band structure? This last part, tail part, is 5 marks. 15 marks I have given for the first part. First part, it should not start from derivation. Many of the people have straight away made the periodic potential diagram and have started doing the derivation. I do not expect that. I expect first you will build up me the case. Why electron is considered motion in 1D periodic potential? Why? That is most important aspect. First you have to bring me the physics part of this model, and this model is called Kroning-Pedy model. That is secondary, but primary thing is you have to elaborate me why electron is moving in 1-dimensional periodic potential, and then you have to make me the standard. No derivation I expect, but definitely we start from writing down the Schrodinger wave equation. Draw the diagram of periodic potential, say that potential is periodic, solution will be governed by Bloch's theorem. Bloch's theorem, you have to use that. Vx plus a plus b is equal to Vx, and under this circumstances wave function will also be periodic. That is from the Bloch's theorem. And write down the 2 equations, define alpha and beta, and finally without getting into the mathematics, write down the straight p sin alpha a upon alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos k, correct? That is the equation. And now draw the diagram and draw very clearly what is forbidden region, what is allowed region, highlighting all those things. Discuss 3 different cases, make a diagram, and then from this, so that when the energy bands are overlapping, how the bands are formed? When the bands are overlapping, it is conductor. When the gap is small, they are semiconductor. When the gap is big, they are insulator. That is how theoretically you have to, this is 20-mark question. You can write down the answer within 3 pages. I will give you up to 3 page space. I expect an answer of 3 page space. but definitely writing about the mathematics only, straight away doing the derivation, you are wasting time. Maximum I have given 6 marks for that part, because you have to highlight me the physics part of this. Straight away. Question B part, similarly, what is Josephson junction? Whenever I am asking Josephson junction, you have to clearly tell me what is Josephson junction. I am not asking what is Josephson effect. I am asking Josephson junction. Junction means two identical superconductors are connected by very thin layer of insulating metal oxide, and within that current starts flowing irrespective of whether potential is applied or potential is not applied. If potential is applied, then it is AC is flowing. If potential is not applied, it is DC is flowing. That is what is junction you could have made. Then afterwards you could have talked about AC Josephson effect and other things, but first you have to make me what is junction. Junction must be clearly told to us. Then afterwards, already I have asked, discuss DC and AC Josephson effects and obtain the relationship for this. So first you define me the junction, and then you tell me what is DC and AC. And then you have to write me quantum mechanically motion of a Cooper pair is being discussed. Supercurrent flows through the junction this is the physics. Supercurrent is flowing through the Josephson junction by the flow of Cooper pair of electrons. This Cooper pair basically, electron which was a fermion has been, because it is a combined state, it has been converted into a boson. So the quantum theory was developed, BCS theory explains this. Within 2-3 lines, you have to highlight me the theory of this part before writing down the Schrodinger wave equation, time dependent Schrodinger wave equation. Everybody has done that. Derivation everybody has marked up. But physics part is missing in many of the answers. I have given you 10 marks, 11 marks. If I have not given you 12 marks, 12 and a half marks, that means your answer is lacking something or the other, and most likely this physics part is lacking here. That is why I am speaking even in the theoretical question. Try to understand, I expected the motion of a Cooper pair will give rise to superconducting current in that region, and that has to be discussed quantum mechanically, and that is what BCS theory did. And then you can proceed for the derivation. And once you have done the derivation, garnishing is important. Garnishing में क्या करना है आपको? For garnishing purpose, you have to show me the characteristic, Josephson characteristic, which is I versus V diagram, which everybody has made it. Good. This was for your 20 mark question. This was for 15 marks. For 5 marks, clear ji? 2 marks for 3 marks you can see for Josephson effect. 2 marks for Josephson junction. 3 marks for Josephson effect, 10 marks for derivation. Try to understand how I am dividing this 20 mark question. 2 marks, what is Josephson junction? Have you written junction? Then 3 marks for AC and DC Josephson effect. 12 marks, 10 marks for the derivation of nu is equal to 2 EV by H, and for 5 marks I have given the numerical problem. Numerical problem is extremely simple. You couldn't have made it wrong, but many people have made it wrong. So bad, because I have got to remember, if it is 1 microvolt, formula you have already derived and formula is written. I will not give any marks to anybody for writing down the formula, because correct formula has already been given. Nu is equal to 2 EV by H, not H cross. Nu is 2 EV by H. Otherwise, dimensionally also you can check. अगर H cross लिखूंगा तो यहाँ ओमेगा होगा. H cross omega must have been 2 EV. But H nu is 2 EV by H. Straight away formula is written. No marks has to be given. I have told you when V is, this formula is used for measuring very small potential differences of the order of microvolts. So if I say, if V is 1 microvolt, what will be frequency? That you remembered. You already remembered this. 1 microvolt is used. I am saying memory. This is the memory written in every book. For 1 microvolt potential, frequency of AC generated is 483.3 megahertz. 483.3 megahertz, correct? तो देखो भाई, nu is proportional to V. If I make nu V now 1 volt, तो तो कितना हो जाएगा 10⁻6 से मल्टीप्लाई हो जाएगा. सिंपली इट विल बिकम 4.83 इंटू 10⁻14 हर्ट्ज. कैलकुलेट करने की जरूरत है क्या किसी को इसमें, या किसी को मिस्टेक उसी का मिस्टेक हुआ होगा जिसको डेटा याद नहीं है. डेविसन जर्मर एक्सपेरिमेंट में whenever we prove wave particle duality for theta was when the theta was 50 degrees, sorry, phi was 50 degrees, what was the energy 54 eV. स्टैंडर्ड डेटा है कि नहीं. अब 54 eV की इसकी वेवलेंथ क्या आएगी, इसकी वेवलेंथ आएगी 1.66 एंगस्ट्रॉम्स. लैम्डा इज h upon root h upon p h upon root 2me. करेक्ट. तब आपको ये अगर डेटा याद हो रखा है, आपको 1 eV करना है, तो आप commensurate you can calculate the cross check the calculation. So few data you are remembering and Bhavras or Susan kind of problems are being asked, and you be concerned that in the numericals answer has to be correct. If your answer is wrong, I am going to I have not given any mark for here, because formula is already I have written. Formula already I have given. Even for writing down the formula I have not given anything. So for 5 marks, either you are getting 3 or 3.5 or you are getting 0. For 5 marks, if your answer is wrong, I have given you 0. There couldn't have been any mistake about the answer. Good. B part. C part. Starting with the expression for density of state for an electron in a band, so that the Fermi energy of an intrinsic semiconductor is at the middle of the band gap. Very standard derivation given in all books. What is intrinsic semiconductor? You make a diagram of conduction band, valency band, and then intrinsic semiconductors, number of electrons must be equal to number of holes is equal to Ni. Now write n number of electrons and number of holes and equate them. n will be something 2 me kt upon h cross square raised to power 3 by 2 e raised to power minus ec minus ef upon kt. Similarly, p will become 2 mh kt upon h cross square 3 by 2 e raised to power minus ef minus ev upon kt. Each, because me is mh, mass of electron is equal to mass of hole. Therefore, you can check simplest, it will turn out to be ec minus ef is ef minus ev. Last calculation, ef will turn out to be ec plus ev by 2. Correct answer will be plus ln nv upon, then have both the mh upon me, both the things were same. So simply ef will turn out to be ec plus ev by 2. Standard derivation given in all books. Everybody must have made it correct. Has not made also. 6 marks I have given. Question 2. Question 3. Once again theoretical. What I need to do? Nothing. Question 3. Question 3, there are 3 parts. Every part, first 2 parts are 15 marks is, next last part is 20 marks. First 3 parts I have asked so that the London equation leads to Meissner effect. London equation del cross j is minus 1 by mu naught lambda square b, or j is this. There are 2 things. These equation leads to Meissner effect. This is 15 marks. I am not asking derivation of London equation. Try to understand. I am not asking derivation of London equation. I am asking you how do these equations leads to Meissner effect. What is Meissner effect? Make the diagram of Meissner effect. Inside the superconductor, B is 0. How B becomes 0? From London equation, you know, BC is BC0 e raised to power minus x upon lambda. So, and that comes from del square B is 1 upon lambda square into B. That kind of equation you have to make. So, from these equations, you have to get that equation basically. So, kuch nahi hai, nothing. Del cross J is given to you. Question 3a, del cross J has been given to you. lambda L square, where lambda L here is penetration depth B. This is given to you. And second is given, this is 1, or second is given to you J is minus C upon 4 pi lambda square A. This is two London equations has been given. Nothing. I can write here del cross. If I take del cross curl of this equation, it will become minus del cross B mu naught lambda L square. So you can write what that this will become del cross J del dot J. You could have derived this and try to understand, you will get this equation basically. I am not going into the derivation part. Simply you will get something of this kind. Del square B is minus 1 upon lambda square B. So solution of this will be of this kind. B x is bx0 e raised to power minus x by lambda L. That is how it will lead to. Now you have to describe this. At the surface, field is your bx0 and stable, and then it falls. X is called your penetration. Whenever x will be equal to lambda, field falls to 1 upon E times. 1 upon E times means almost 0. So inside the superconductor there is no field. That is one from you will get from the second one, which is del cross B1. Now from here you would have taken del dot J will be del dot A. That means you see what was the Mester effect. Mester effect is E is also 0 and B is also 0. Mester effect is inside the superconductor B is 0, E is also 0. That is because sigma is 0. That is the basic definition of superconductor. So both the things you have to explain from this. B is 0 from here. Then del dot J, if A is 0, del dot A gives you the vector potential. Vector potential is required for B. If B becomes 0, then A will also become 0 and accordingly J will also be 0. If J is 0, J is sigma E. So your E has to be 0. So you have to prove basically from both these equations how do we lead to E and B both being 0. You have to show me both these aspects. If you will show me both these aspects, then I will give you 4 marks each. I have divided the entire 15 mark question for 7.5 marks. I would have given you 4.5 marks out of each part. If you have given me, I have given you up to 8-9 marks. Minimum marks I have given you 4 and 4. 4 for one explanation, 4 for other explanation. Then definitely next part, derive the device structure of PN junction solar cell. Explain how light energy is converted to electrical energy. Already I said this. Draw the IV characteristic. Straight away derivation is there. Straight away description is there. How the solar cell works. Draw the IV characteristic of solar cell. These are 15 mark question. If you have done all the theoretical things, I have given you 9 marks. I cannot add anything to this. Only when the answer is given to me, I can say what kind of answer has been given. Similarly, draw and explain the collector characteristic of bipolar junction transistor in CE mode. Draw and explain. First you have to draw me the circuit diagram and then you have to explain me the collector characteristics in CE mode. And then you have to show me the active mode, saturation mode and all those things, how it acts as a on and off switch. That part is 10 marks. 10 marks I have awarded for the first part. If you have done all the things well, I have given you 12 marks. Instead, forward question was there, and this question was also asked in the exam. I have directly lifted the question from the previous year papers. Question 4. In question 4, my typist have missed the marks avoided to the various parts in this question. So how I have avoided? I have done the very simple thing that 4A I have given it for 20 marks, although it didn't deserve, but because I missed the marks, I have avoided 20 marks for A part, 20 marks for C part and 10 marks for the B part. This was very loose question from my side. I would have made in fact 4 or 5 bits into this part. None of the bits in this question deserve according to me more than 10 marks. But somehow this question came. So answer has to be given accordingly. Try to understand, if I have asked the question for 20 marks, answer could have been up to 3 pages. Nice answer has to be given for this part. Like for 4A, what is the use of positive feedback in oscillator design? So definitely answer must start, what is positive feedback? What do you mean by positive feedback? Because positive feedback is typically used only in the oscillator circuits. Why it is used in oscillator circuits? Definitely positive feedback means whenever I add some part of it is to strengthen the input. Input has to be increased. Whenever I want to increase the input, whether it is input voltage or input power or input current, some part of the output is joined with the input, and that is how the positive feedback results into. And for this, gain in the positive feedback is simply AVF. If I talk in terms of, let us take the example of voltage gain, then AVF is AV upon 1 minus AV beta, where beta is the gain here. So if I make the denominator 0, then the AVF will become infinite. Total gain will become infinite. So practically no gain can become infinite. So therefore, AV beta maximum is 1 and it has to be same loop. This is called Barkhausen criteria. So according to Barkhausen criteria, and loop has to be, total loop gain has to be theta has to be either 360 degrees or it is integral multiple of 360 degrees, and AV beta has to be equal to 1. That is how, first of all, here I expected, because I am asking this for 5 marks. Then I am asking for 15 marks. I have given the numerical problem, although it didn't deserve more than 5 marks. Determine the circuit oscillation frequency for the Colpit oscillator. I didn't taught Colpit oscillator. Definitely Colpit means C. C means capacitors are to be used in the tank circuits. So it is very simple. C, 2 capacitors have been used. C equivalent would have been C1 C2 upon C1 plus C2. Answer for this frequency is, any tank circuit frequency is 1 by 2 pi root LC. Everybody should know this was very simple question in examination. This question will never be asked for more than 10 marks maximum. So everybody has made it correct. Answer is 1.047 megahertz. This is the answer of this 4A. So here the first part, what is the use of positive? I am asking what is the use of positive feedback. Try to understand what is positive feedback. Maybe for 1 mark I would have given you, but what is the use of positive feedback? That is my question. Why I am using positive feedback? In amplifier circuits, typically we use negative feedback. Why? And positive feedback is only used in the oscillator circuits, because oscillator circuits have to have a sustained oscillations and a stable frequency is required for them, because oscillations has to be sustained for them. Therefore, Barkhausen criteria is must. Barkhausen criteria provides us the sustained oscillation mechanism for sustained oscillations, and for that purpose we are using this positive feedback, and read certain other points from the book also about the positive feedback, because I expected a good answer for positive feedback. Similarly, for amplifiers we use the negative feedback. Why do we use negative feedback? What are the different advantages of negative feedback in terms of frequency, stability of the response? Other terms we have to write. B part of this, calculate the number of nearest neighbors and packing fraction of an FCC lattice. Very simple. Packing fraction of the FCC lattice, definitely packing fraction answer has to be turned out to be 0.74, 75%. and number of nearest neighbors is 12. Almost everybody has made it correct. I expected a diagram. Definitely 4r has to be written equal to root 2a. Then packing fraction you have to derive 4 into 4 by pi by 3 r cube upon 1 lattice cell a cube. It will turn out to be this thing. Good. So 20 marks was the first part. What is use of positive feedback in oscillator circuit? I have asked for 5 marks. 15 marks I have asked for the numerical problem. Numerical problem was so simple that everybody, if the answer is correct, I have given you 9 marks. Only this 5 marks positive feedback, Barkhausen criteria you have written, I have given you 2 marks. Try to appreciate if you have used the word Barkhausen, although my answer, I was expecting something else in answer, whatever I said earlier. But for using the Barkhausen criteria, AB beta is equal to 1, total loop gain is equal to 360 degrees or integral multiple of 360 degrees, 0 degrees or 360 degrees, I have given you 2 marks. 9 plus 2, 11 marks are given typically. B part is very simple, answer already given, packing fraction is 0.74, number of nearest neighbors are 12, everybody has done it. Now C part. C part is another 20 marks. C part is another 20 marks. Both of them I have given marks. Question number 4 according to me was misfit in the question paper. It was very simple question. C part, there are 10 marks. There are 2 operations, 2 expressions I have asked to simplify and realize them using NAND gates. Simplification is 5 marks each. I mean 10 marks for simplification aspect and 10 marks for using it through NAND gates. If you have not done it through NAND gates, I evaluated you only for 10 marks. And first part, AB bar C plus BD plus this is very straightforward. Answer will turn out to be or simply B bar C. For C, first part, I hope everybody has made it correct. AB bar C plus BD plus A bar B bar C. What was this? A B bar C plus A B bar B D, correct? Plus A bar B bar C. This becomes 0. So nice. Now I would have taken your B bar common here. What would have become? A plus A bar, AC, here would have become your A bar plus AC into C. B bar, what is A bar? Okay, I would have just this. Here this would have become your, now I would have done A B bar C plus your A bar B bar C. Here it would have become your B bar C, A plus A bar. A plus A bar is 1, simply B bar C. Realize only to through gates. One NAND gate, this is B, this will become B bar, other one is C. This will make you B bar C. Simply get it B bar C. Output. That is what I expected for your 10 marks question. Simply simplify. B, 3 NAND gates would have given you the desired output. One NAND gate, B I have added, B bar, this C. Here answer would have been B bar C bar. Once again you apply B C bar. Correct, I have given you 6 marks. Very simple. So I said this question was so simple that it didn't deserve much things. Second part, answer is AC. And for doing AC also you need to do nothing. This is your simple A and C were fed here. It will become AC bar. Simple would have given you AC. So simple. Simplify. Everybody has made it correct. Answer was A and C2 inputs are fed into this. Output was AC bar, inverter, AC. 4A. Now 5B. Oh, sorry, question number 5. 4A. If you have got any question up to question 4, you can ask me. Anybody having any question up to question 4, you can ask me. Write down the expressions for a specific heat as obtained from device theory. How does device theory differ from Einstein's theory? So that lower temperature region it goes to famous T cube law, very straightforward question. Many times in the exam it has been asked. Standard derivation is there. 5 marks for writing down the expression, 5 marks how does it differ from Einstein's theory, 10 marks for so that lower temperature region reduces to famous T cube law. If your formula is not correct of the device theory, how third part can be correct? If your formula is not correct, then how your third part can be correct? Third part cannot be correct. Simple 10 marks. I am going to give you 0. Only for writing down the difference between Einstein and device theory, everybody has mugged up. I could have given you 3 marks. I have given 3 marks to many people if your formula is not correct. Simple. What is device formula? I am asking what is the device formula. I am not asking the derivation. I am asking devise the formula. So define me what is the device formula. CV at any temperature T was what? Batao. 9R if I am not wrong, 4T upon theta D whole cube 0 to theta D by T x cube dx. If I am not wrong, e raised to power x minus 1 minus theta d upon t e raised to power theta d upon t minus 1. This divides the formula. A specific heat at any temperature T is given by CV is 9R. Any temperature T. Is this what is here theta D? Theta D is called device temperature. Device temperature, which is what? H nu m by K. What is nu m? Nu m is the maximum frequency or frequency spectrum or device frequency, whatever you want to call. Theta D. What is x? X you need to define. X is nothing, a parameter which is h nu upon kt, when nu is the frequency of the things. These terms needs to be explained. Proper words, specific heat at any temperature T is given by this formula. Where this term is essential, you cannot miss this term. Many people have missed the second term. It is not correct. If you have missed the second term, it is not correct. You have to write me the second term, minus theta d by t. Yes, and define everything. What is theta d, what is nu m, what is x. If you have done it, I have given you 3 marks. 3 marks I have given out of 5. If you have written down the correct formula and defined me all the things. If you have written down the correct formula, not defined all the terms, I have given you 2 marks. That's it. Everybody has made it correct. What is the difference between device and Einstein theory? Tabular presentation I want, at least 3 differences I require for 3 marks. One is only single frequency. Einstein's theory, all the molecules of a solid are behaving like elastic oscillators and their frequencies are one and the same. They are oscillating with the discrete frequency spectrum. That is the first difference. Second difference is that all frequencies are same. Their frequencies can have upper bound to the frequency spectrum also. Total modes of oscillations in device theory were restricted 3n here. So individual degrees of freedom doesn't have any meaning. Here every molecule was vibrating in 3 different degrees of freedom. So that is how 3 different differences you would have written. I have given you 3 marks. Everybody has written that. Now next part. How does it lead to famous T cube law? In lower temperature region, In lower temperature region, if your T is small, then theta d by T, you get this theta d by T, what is the question? You get this part, expand this, lower temperature region, this term will become extremely large. If theta temperature this is large. Large means I can take expand up to infinite. Expand these terms, this will become 1. So it is 9R T upon theta d whole cube. I am just checking. 0 T if I write infinity, this is large, I can take up to infinity. 0 to infinity. X cube dx upon e raised to power x. This is a particular integral, definite integral. Value is something pi 4 upon 15 or something. Straight away I will get proportional to t cube here. But this term has to be 1. This term has to be finished. So how this term will become? Because even if you have missed this term, then also answer follows. Because theta, this term is large. If this term is large, then e raised to power infinity will become further large, much larger as compared to 1. 1 upon infinity will become theta d upon t upon infinity will become 0. So this term, entire term becomes 0 in lower temperature region. I don't understand how this term becomes 0. Theta d by t is large, e raised to power infinity, so that means 1 can be neglected here. This is theta d by t. If you would have expanded otherwise also, you could have done it by different ways. 1 plus theta d by 2, theta d by t plus other terms. This will become 1 by infinity. 1 by infinity means 0. It will go. So, even if you wouldn't have written in the formula, then also answer will follow. But that is not the correct formula. So, here only this term is fixed. Definite integral, you would have written it value 36R upon theta d cube, t cube, and this is your, if I am not wrong, pi 4 upon 15, it is a t cube. Everybody has done it. So, I have given you the marks. B part, then other parts are 15 marks each. Construct a digital circuit to add 3 ABC bits, sum and carry Boolean expressions, very simple straightforward questions. I have asked a full adder circuit. Full adder is a combination of 2 half adder circuits. Write down the different expression, make the truth table. Essential item is that you have to make the truth table, and from the truth table how Boolean expression is written. Then you have to write down the Boolean expression for sum and carry both. Sum will turn out to be A XOR B XOR C input. That is how that will be your sum part, and definitely carry part will become your plus AB also further will be added into this. So, standard derivation. C part, a type 2 superconducting material with superconducting transition temperatures has been given to you. You have to tell me whether it is a normal, superconductor or mixed. You have to identify 4 different cases I have given. 15 mark question I have assigned. I have given you for every correct part I have given you about 2.5 marks, 2.25 marks. 9 marks I have given in the total thing. So, first part T is less than Tc, H is greater than Sc2, it is normal. So, in fact, I expected this kind of diagram here by the help of Sc versus T diagram. There are various diagrams. This is your T, this is your Hc, this kind of thing is there. This is your Hc1 lower limit, this is your Tc. Below this it is a superconductor. Below this is a superconductor. Definitely you know Hc is Hc0 1 minus T upon Tc whole square. This is experimental empirical graph. That is what has been made. This is TC, this is SC. And this is SC2. This is SC2. This is superconductor, it is normal state outside, and this is your mixed state. Flux is entering inside the specimen between SC1 and SC2. This diagram I expected, and within that diagram, first part is answer is normal. Second part is also normal state. Third part is your mixed state. And fourth part is also normal. That is what was the answer with the diagram. Made it correct, I have given 9 marks. Made it correct, I have given you 9 marks. This question was asked in the UPSC exam. Was a good question. This kind of question has been repeatedly asked. Identify the state of material as whether normal, superconductor or mixed state. So you must know how to identify. Below TC, material is superconductor, follows the Messier effect up to SC1, critical temperature field, because by magnetic field superconductivity can be destroyed. After SC1, magnetic flux starts entering the specimen, that is the mixed state, up to SC2, and then it is normal state beyond SC2. Good. So anybody willing to ask any question either in the YouTube or in this class?